looking forward to the day where we can sing this song when you are graduating, when I can call out your name on this stage and we can dance our way out of the auditorium. So, with those words, let me extend a word of welcome to all of you. You, this group in particular, has shown us how resilience, dedication to studies, because you didn't have it easier. You were in grade 10 when COVID hit. You had missed classes, staggered classes, and yet look at where you are today. Now that's entirely due to your resilience, to the fact that you said, nothing's going to hold me back. You need to understand one thing. You are one of a very select group of students. Do you know that UJ got over 350,000 applications? And you know how many spaces we have? 10,500. Now that's amazing. That you sitting in this chair today. Who's in the intermediate phase? Show me some hands. Great. Now in the intermediate phase, I'm just going to choose that program. We got almost 4,000 applications. And we had space for 120 of you. So look at that. And it's the same for the foundation phase, for the senior phase, for the FET phase. You really are special that you have a seat today here. So I don't want you to waste this. I know the first year is exciting, but it can also be confusing and it can be disorienting. How many of you, and I'm going to ask the lecturers also, to put up your hands if you're the first in your family to come to university? Me too. Me too. I was the first in my family to go to university. So this is important. This is important not just for you, but it's also important for your families. And you can see there were quite a few hands here, right? So we call students like you, first in your family, people like me, we call them first generation students when we speak about students like this. And I was in your space, but I didn't do so well as a first year, first generation student. Do you know that I failed my first year? You saw some of the videos, eh? Now, I don't say that because I'm proud of failing, but I'm saying it to you because everybody can fail. The important thing is how you deal with that failure. Pick yourself up and you start again. However, there's a big but. I don't want anybody to fail in this faculty. I don't want you to be me 20, 30 years ago. So why did I fail? I failed because I felt lost, I felt alone, and I wasn't studying at UJ, it was at another institution somewhere across the road. I felt alone, I felt lost, I didn't know who to ask for help when I was struggling. I didn't have money for my textbooks and other things that I needed. And I was embarrassed when the lecturer started shouting at me because I didn't have the necessary textbooks. Now that must not happen to you. Nobody here will ever shout at you for not having a textbook, for not having what's needed to manage your studies. That's a promise we make to you. Nobody will shout at you. They will shout at you, and I will shout at you. If you're lazy, because I think I was also a little bit lazy. Let's just be honest. It wasn't just because I didn't have money and I didn't have this. I was a little bit lazy. And coming from school, I didn't always know how to structure my time. Because at school you go to classes. The bell rings, you go to the next class. Here, you're left on your own. So you have to develop the discipline to figure it out. And if you don't know how, ask for help. Because we don't want you to be getting into, what do they call that? The F7 tables and chairs. Is that right? You know where that is? Okay, I don't want you to know where it is. Say, no, we don't know where it is. I don't want you sitting there. Because if I find education students, and you see why I wear tackies, I'm going to march up there and come pull you away from those F7 tables. Because my daughter was here at varsity and she says, once you start sitting there, you don't leave until you fail. So I don't want you at those tables because nobody is going to fail this year. Do you know that only about 40 to 60% of our students finish the degree in 4 years? Now, that means a good percentage take 5 and take 6 years to finish, which means that you lose out on earning money as a teacher. You may lose your bursary. I don't want that to happen to you. Don't be me that failed a year. And the sooner you ask for help, the better. Don't wait until you fail June exam, now come ask for help. Now, all your first year classes will have some kind of assessment in the first 3, 4, 5 weeks. Make sure you don't fail that. Even if it's a small assessment, make sure you prepare well so that we don't put you on an at-risk list. Because I don't want to see any of you repeating a year or repeating a module if we can help it. But if you don't tell us, we won't know how to help you. So what can we do? This is a start, this orientation program. You have lots and lots of tutors. Right, Dr. Batchelor, Prof. Batchelor? Do they also have a session where they learn to use Blackboard? Yep. You've gone to the library, so you know what is available. And it's not only academic help. If you have a problem at home, if you have a problem with drugs or alcohol, because I know young people, I've got 4 children. So I know. Go and ask for help before it's too late. We want to see you on this path to success. We want to sing that song when you leave here. So I want to stop there with a nagging. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what do we see as education. Now I love this quote by civil rights activist Marian Wright Edelman. And she says, education is for improving the lives of others and for leaving your community and world better than when you found it. Now that's very profound because you are in an education degree. I believe that education is the building block of society. We will not have a good nation if we don't have good education. So this is the place in education, in schools, where we learn about ethics. When we read about ministers and other people stealing money, this is where we learn that's wrong. And where you, as a student and as a teacher, teach other people that's wrong. That's not how we behave. It's a place here in education where we can dream, where we can invent, where we can create. Did you talk to them about the makerspace a little bit? Not yet. There's still stuff to come. So this faculty has a lot of innovations. And we are hoping that you will learn to get to know. It's really one of a kind, where they do cutting edge research, and you get a chance to put on goggles, for instance, in Prof. Ramnarayan's Vastimi Hub, and see how virtual and augmented reality works in your programs. When you look at our society today, there are so many people who don't have. They don't have the fundamental things in life. No education, no jobs, no means to feed their families. Now that saddens me. And I believe that good teachers are the way in which we change our society in South Africa. But we can't do that. We can't have good schools and good education if we don't have competent and dedicated and professional and ethical teachers. Now, I always say to the students, my children are not at school anymore, but my daughter used to be at school a few years ago, and I often had some of her teachers in my classes at varsity. And I used to say to them, if you're not good enough to teach my child, I actually don't want you teaching anybody's child. So the kind of teacher we produce in the Faculty of Education must be the best. People must look at you in 4 years' time and say, I can see that's a UJ Faculty of Education student. That's what we want from you. So you will learn about educational theories, you will learn about ethics, you will learn about professionalism, and you will spend those 4 years with us. So it starts with us, but it's also about you. And we want you to begin to develop the habits. Habits are important. Remember that lazy me I told you about? I plan every second of every day now. I'm not that lazy student anymore. Ask any of them, if you look at my diary, almost everything is blocked out for something. So I've learned my lesson. And here's the space where we want you to learn, to dedicate yourself to this special place that you managed to get into, where hundreds of other students, thousands of other students didn't. We want teachers. We have a long-standing partnership with the University of Helsinki. And when we look at how teachers are regarded in Finland, do you know that it's harder to become a teacher in Finland than it is to become a doctor and a lawyer? Because they recognize how important educators like yourselves are to society. It's an honor to be a teacher. People regard teachers as one of the most important building blocks of society. And I think we must claim that. When I know many of our students used to tell us, when people hear you come in a foundation phase teacher, they say, what's that? You just learn to play with the children. And we're going to change that. Because actually, the foundation phase teachers are some of your most important teachers in your whole education system. You wouldn't be here today if you didn't have a good basis. So we're going to show them not to pull their noses up at teaching and at teachers. Because without us, there actually are no doctors, there are no lawyers, there are no engineers. They must come through your hands first. Now, Martin Luther King said, intelligence plus character, that's the goal of education. Now, I have no doubt that you are all intelligent people. You wouldn't be sitting here. You've got some of the highest APS scores of all the students that were selected for this program. So you definitely are intelligent. But it takes more than intelligence to be a good teacher. And this is where we start, building the character of a teacher in the 4 years. Remember those things I said? Ethics, professionalism, dedication to your task. Now, my colleagues laugh at me because I have a favorite saying. I often say to people, I say, I don't have a lot of patience. And one thing I don't like is lazy people. So if you come in with a bit of laziness, I'm going to quickly grab hold of you and make sure that you won't be lazy at the end of this year. Because the first thing I say, if you want to be lazy, this is not the place for you. There's the door. Go and use it. Because if you are one of 4,000 students who managed to make it into a program, no place for laziness. You've earned your space. Now we need to work to keep that space. So you are going to be the examples of good practice we want to see. We want to see truly educated people, like Martin Luther King said. Not just people who are intelligent, but people who have character. And we're going to talk about what character means throughout your studies. So I'm going to finish now so you can get back to partying and learning new things here. So my message to you today is simple. From the first day of your studies, when your classes start there and then. Don't put it off to next week and the week thereafter, because then you're going to be me that fails your first year. Start the very first week. Start becoming that model of character and diligence that we want to see in the faculty and in our society. And then in 4 years' time, we haven't left a single one of you behind when we're reading out names and we're dancing to that Brenda Fassie song. Do we have a deal? I'm not hearing it out enough. Do we have a deal? Yes, absolutely. That's a cause for celebration.